Welcome back to the show. Today we are diving into one of the most overlooked yet fundamental pillars of human performance and long term health, which is, of course, nutrition. We often talk about training, mindset, or recovery, but the reality is none of that matters without the right fuel. The way we eat doesn't just affect how we look, it shapes how we think, move, perform, and even age. In this episode, I will be unpacking the science behind energy balance, macronutrients, and the key nutritional strategies that define the health of the UK population. We'll also explore how nutrition professionals are working to shift national habits and why these insights matter for every one of us trying to perform, think, and live at our best. So, whether you're an athlete, a busy professional, or someone simply wanting to understand the bigger picture, this one's for you. So let's start with the big picture. The Scientific Advisory Committee on Nutrition, or SACN for short, provides independent advice to the UK government on nutrition and health. Their 2011 report on the energy requirements revealed a worrying trend. The UK population has an increasing dominance of overweight and obesity. If this continues, the consequences are clear. More people will carry excess weight, which is linked to poorer health outcomes and higher mortality. Right now, 1 in 4 adults in the UK has 3 or more major risk factors, which include high blood pressure, elevated blood sugar, abnormal blood lipids, and obesity. That combination is known as metabolic syndrome, and it doubles the risk of cardiovascular disease while increasing the risk of type 2 diabetes by 5 times. Cardiovascular disease alone is still the leading cause of death worldwide, responsible for around 31% of all deaths. And those numbers are expected to rise further by in 2030. So, if we are serious about health, productivity, and longevity, we have to start by understanding energy balance and macronutrient intake. According to the European Food Safety Authority, we use the term dietary reference values, or DRVs, to define population wide nutrient and energy needs. These are evidence based targets designed to help maintain health across different demographics, but they're averages, not prescriptions. Every person's energy requirements is unique, shaped by lifestyle, body composition, so current body composition, but also body composition goals, age, and activity levels. Within these guidelines, we have 3 key measures: reference nutrient intake, which is the amount that meets the needs of about 97% of the population. We then have estimated average requirement, what the average person would need. And then finally, we have lower reference nutrient intake, which is the bare minimum to avoid deficiency. These values are useful for public health and looking at the situation of the population's nutrition from a wide perspective, but they miss one critical truth: health is personal. Gibson and colleagues, in a large-scale study of over 41,000 UK police officers, found that poor dietary quality was directly linked to higher cardiometabolic risk, independent of demographics or occupation. In other words, diet quality matters more than most people realize, regardless of how active or healthy they think they are. Now, let's talk about energy balance, something everyone has probably heard of, but most of the general population do not understand or even adhere to. Energy balance is simply the relationship between energy intake and energy expenditure. When you consume more than you burn, you're in a positive energy balance, and most of the excess will be stored as fat. When you burn more than you consume, you're in a negative balance, and most of that loss will come from fat stores. This isn't just about aesthetics. Chronic positive energy balance, eating more than you expend over time, drives the rise in body fat, metabolic dysfunction, and eventually disease risks. Now, one key area to outline is that if you chronically overeat and develop metabolic dysfunction in your lifetime, and you pass these genetics on to your child, that child would also have a hard time regulating themselves and also will have issues with eating habits and metabolic dysfunctions. So it's not just important to optimize your nutrition for yourself and improve these issues, but also passing on better genetics to your children. Our total daily energy expenditure has several components. Basal or resting metabolic rate, the energy your body needs just to stay alive. Thermic effect of food, the cost of digesting and processing what you eat. Non-exercise activity thermogenesis, the small unconscious movements and just daily activities that we do. And finally, exercise activity thermogenesis, the calories burned through purposeful exercise. Now, it's also worth pointing out that the partitioning of your macros, how you eat, when you eat, how many calories you eat, the quality of your food, they all influence those components. Now, I won't go into those in detail because you have to go into each individual macro, but it's worth pointing out that how you eat and what you eat has a significant influence on those components. Low levels of total daily energy expenditure paired with excessive intake are the foundation for rising obesity and lifestyle diseases worldwide. In fact, according to the World Health Organization, as of 2022, over 2.5 billion adults are classified as overweight, with nearly 900 million obese. To understand how nutrition fuels performance and health, we need to talk about how the body actually creates energy. Our cells rely on three primary energy systems: the phosphagen, glycolytic, and oxidative pathways. The phosphagen system provides immediate energy through stored ATP and phosphocreatine, perfect for explosive efforts like sprints or heavy lifting. The glycolytic system uses carbohydrates, primarily muscle glycogen without oxygen, powering short, intense efforts. And finally, the oxidative system uses carbohydrates, fats, and sometimes proteins in the presence of oxygen. This fuels endurance and recovery. These systems overlap and do work together, but without the right macronutrient balance, they simply can't function properly or optimally. Macronutrients, which are proteins, fats, and carbs, are the body's fundamental sources of energy and structure. They don't just provide calories, they drive hormone production, recovery, cellular repair, and even cognitive performance. Proteins support muscle maintenance, growth, enzyme function, and immune health. Carbohydrates provide glucose for high intensity work and brain function. Fats are also essential for hormone synthesis and long-term energy and micronutrient storage. When these are balanced appropriately for an individual's energy needs or goals, the body performs efficiently. When they're not, fatigue, brain fog, and long-term health issues are inevitable. The World Health Organization recommends adults consume at least 400 grams of fruit and vegetables per day, less than 5% of that energy intake from free sugars, roughly 25 grams, less than 30% of energy from fats, and under 5 grams of salt daily. These are basics, yet the majority of the population still struggles to meet these or stay within guidelines or even get close to optimizing their nutrition. But here's where things get complex. Nutrition isn't just a matter of knowledge, it's about access. Socio-economic differences play a huge role in diet quality. Those in lower income brackets often consume more energy-dense, nutrient-poor foods and fewer fruits, fewer vegetables, and fewer whole grains. This creates a cycle of poor health, reduced productivity, and increased medical burden, something we see reflected in national health data year after year. Nutritional professionals have the ability to break this cycle if the person is willing to seek help or prioritize their nutrition. And nutrition professionals can help by supporting with education, supporting accessibility, and of course, behavior change. They can shift the trajectory of the population's health. Nutritionists and dietitians work across the full spectrum, from lifestyle optimization to clinical disease management. Their work goes beyond meal plans. It's about education, empowerment, and helping individuals make sustainable changes that align with their goals and values. Ethically, they are guided by principles like integrity, individual focus, social responsibility, and innovation. all outlined by the Code of Ethics for Nutrition and Dietetics Professionals. Ultimately, as a health professional, the goal is simple: create equal opportunities for people to access nutritious food, make better decisions, provide them with accurate information, and better health outcomes for everyone. At its core, nutrition is not just fuel, it's information. It tells your body how to perform, how to recover, and how to adapt. From the cellular level all the way up to the national health policy, it's clear nutrition is the foundation of human performance and longevity. Whether you're an athlete, an entrepreneur, a busy mom, or dad, or simply someone who wants to live with more energy, your nutrition choices today will determine how well you perform tomorrow. Because if energy is a currency of life, nutrition is how we earn it, spend it, and invest it.